Let's bring in Kim Strassel, opinion columnist for the Wall Street Journal, and Fox News contributor Mark Penn, former Clinton pollster and CEO of Stagwell Incorporated. So, Kim, let's begin with you. A lot of Democrats, when we look at New York City, are saying, oh, this is just a local race. This does not have national implications. But there's some people out there who believe that if Mamdani pulls off a big victory, this could be the beginning of a socialist wave across America, at least in big blue cities. What do you think?
Yeah, it is. It is going to have national implications, John. I mean, one, for Republicans, because if Mamdani wins, you're going to see a very easy foil be set up for President Trump and Republicans, pointing out his policies, the failures, maybe using him as an excuse to send National Guard troops in to, as the president already threatened, to cut off federal funding. And so it's going to be their poster child for where things are going for the Democratic Party. But for the Democratic Party, too, you had Andrew Cuomo there saying this is going to matter. You've already got progressives out there saying, hey, look, we've got two paths here. Look, we were winning moderates in New Jersey and Virginia, and then we've got a Democratic socialist in New York, and he's doing better. That just shows that this is the future of the party. If he wins, they're going to take that as a sign that progressive Democrats are the future again, and maybe stop in the tracks some of the second thoughts Democrats have been having about what direction they need to go.
So, Mark, all eyes have been on New York City, but you also have to look to Minneapolis and Seattle as well, where self-proclaimed socialists are running for mayor there. Omar Fattah in Minneapolis, Katie Wilson in Seattle. And the backing for them is splitting the party as well. For example, in Minneapolis, Omar Fattah is backed by Ilhan Omar. Jacob Frey, who is the incumbent, is backed by Tim Walz. I mean, there are a lot of people in the Democratic Party who do not want to see this move towards socialism. What do you say?
Well, I agree with them. Essentially, what's happened here is the DSA has glommed onto the Democratic Party and said, hey, we're Democrats. And unfortunately, the DNC leadership has said, sure, come on in. Right. It doesn't really matter if you believe things that are completely antithetical to core democratic principles. We're welcoming you if you win elections. I think that's a crazy position for a party. It's ultimately fundamentally destructive. I always remind people that in 1972 and 1984, the Democratic Party managed to reduce itself to a single state. And we could be headed for another wave. I mean, look, we see what happened in Chicago. There was a clear choice. They chose the candidate farther to the left, and now the entire city is in an uproar because of the results that they've gotten. These cities with these mayors are going to get worse results. And this, I think, trend has the real capability to take the party even further down, which, let's face it, it's out of power in all branches of government precisely because it's moved too far to the left.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting that President Trump threw his support behind Andrew Cuomo in New York City. Cuomo is trying to run on good governance, though a lot of people would say he doesn't have a particularly great track record after being governor of New York State. It's showing that. But the appeal for Mamdani is mostly among Gen Z voters, Kimberly, who like the idea of free stuff, free buses, free childcare, low rent, things like that. But remember, as Margaret Thatcher famously said, let's put it up on the screen, the problem with socialism is that you eventually run out of other people's money, Kimberly.
That's absolutely right. And by the way, John, don't we all love other people's money? But it just doesn't really work that way. I mean, I can appreciate why Donald Trump is really putting his hat in the ring for Cuomo. Curtis Sliwa doesn't have a shot of winning this. And if the president can back a guy who, it looks as though the polls are narrowing and the gaps there and help him put in a good show, that really matters. One thing to watch here, because you make a great point, if this is just younger people and really base voters who are turning out in this election, I think that's where you get the big Mamdani lead that you've seen in some of the polls. But Cuomo's been making the point that if this is a huge turnout election and a lot of people are motivated that maybe you haven't heard from to maybe not be on board with Mamdani, then he's got a better shot. Maybe that's where you see some of that tightening.
And I just want to finish off with you, Mark, on another topic that's going on in California. What's on the ballot there today is Prop 50. And here's what Prop 50 would do. Here is currently the makeup of congressional delegation in California. You've got 9 Republicans. If Prop 50 is passed, there is a good chance that Republican representation will go down to just 4 seats. Hakeem Jeffries was pressed on this idea of gerrymandering on a Sunday show a week ago. Here's what he said. Listen here.
Democrats are going to push back aggressively to make sure that we have fair maps across the country, not partisan gerrymandering, which Republicans have initiated in state after state after state.
I mean, if you take a look at that, the potential there in California, how is that possibly fair? And not only that, but Democrats have been at this gerrymandering game for decades now.
Well, that's true because I think Eric Holder and Barack Obama have had this fake nonpartisan redistricting effort, which was really about going from state to state and trying to maximize the number of Democratic seats that they could get. And in fact, the Democrats have an overall advantage, you know, in this gerrymandering. Now, look, the Texas thing set off a war.
Yep.
Politics is going to be met by politics. I think it's an exercise in hypocrisy for Hakeem Jeffries and the others to go out and say, well, if they do that, we'll do this. You know, 4 seats in California when, 40% of the state is Republican. That is gerrymandering in the extreme on the biggest level. It is rank hypocrisy. I don't know how we're going to work our way out of it, politics being what it is these days.
Yeah, it's a zero-sum game, and it's getting even worse than that. Mark, Kimberly, great to talk to you. Thanks for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.